Hello everyone. My name is Dr. Tenku Putri Norishah. I'm currently the Deputy Director for the Center for Lifelong Learning and Learning Innovations. And basically my department, the Lifelong Learning Education Department, we basically coordinate all the micro-credentials that we deliver on behalf of Multimedia University. Okay. All right, so let me share so today, basically I would like to thank OpenLearning for inviting MMU for basically just a session for us to share our experience in the developing micro-credentials and using OpenLearning as our platform. So OpenLearning has been our partner for the past year to deliver micro-credentials to the public as well as to our clients. All right, so let me share my screen. First. Yeah. It's a very informal session. Okay, let me share. Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, so basically, what I'm going to share today is basically some of the challenges that we face in developing micro-credentials because for MME, we have been developing our micro-credentials from accredited academic programs. So all this while, these programs have been delivered in a blended learning mode because MME has always been practicing blended learning mode whereby about 30%, 30-40% we conduct our classes online and about 60% we actually deliver our classes in the classrooms. However, of course, during the past year, due to the pandemic, we have been conducting 100% online classes. Okay, but now post-pandemic, we are starting, especially in January, we're going to start with a hybrid mode for our on-campus classes. But for micro-credentials, we're continuing with online learning, and we have actually partnered with OpenLearning to deliver our micro-credentials. Okay. All right. Basically, the role of instruction designers, and we're talking about instruction designer, is very important when you want to develop micro-credentials. Because I think when you're thinking of the future, where especially because of the pandemic, employees are continually seeking to upskill themselves, and even when we see that many people are also currently unemployed, so they need to upskill themselves in order perhaps to find certain jobs. So basically, both instructional designers and educators, they must be more flexible, they must be more creative and capable of addressing the different types of education needs of prospective students. And we also find that in the economy, our Malaysia economy, which is the knowledge-based economy, and as of course with the internet 4.0, it actually demands continual lifelong and life-wide learning of all adults, because adults basically, they have to always remain employable, they have to be adaptable to the different needs of the industry, and they have to always be productive. For example, myself, I know my first degree was in English and media communication, but as I started working in MMU, my skills have actually evolved and have adapted so that I would be able to remain employable and remain relevant to my university. So basically, lifelong learning and lifelong learning has to be something that should be practiced by all adults. Okay, so one of the very popular educational shifts is related to micro-credentials, or what we call micro-learning. This is a phenomenon that is, I think, happening all over the world, and I think in Malaysia it has maybe started quite new, really, maybe the past 2-3 years. So it is actually a new, I wanted to say new, but it's an innovative educational concept that would actually meet the needs of workplace training for lifelong learning and also for personal skilling, personal growth. Okay, so we see here that what's important at the end of learning a micro-credential is you'll get what we call the digital badge. Okay, so this, for example, you see here on the right-hand side, on the right-hand right-hand top corner, we see this is an example of a digital badge that is awarded by MMU Also, we award digital badge through the my OpenLearning platform because it is integrated with the globally recognized digital credentialing platform, which is accreditable. So basically, when we have this, when we award digital badge to an individual, basically it's a recognition for the individual's knowledge, skills, as well as competency in a very specific or narrow area of study. So this is a digital badge is very useful because you can actually, you can basically use it as part of your CV, and you can share it with potential employers and basically this part of your CV. Yes? So it's a very good way of displaying your competency, your knowledge, and your skills. Okay, right. So when we're talking about when you want to convert, when you define learning, a micro learning or micro-credential as small chunks of learning, where the small chunks of learning are delivered through technologies. And when you basically, the characteristics of micro-credential is you want to focus on a single topic, and the topic you divide it into basically smaller components. Because adults they prefer to learn in chunks, in small bites of learning, rather than large very large modules, because of as adult learners we don't really have a lot of time compared to students, undergraduate students. They can go to campus, they can focus on the studies. But we're talking about micro-credential or micro-learning concept, where you actually chunk down the content into small bits, bite-sized components. It's easier for especially for adult learners to learn. All right, so and it's accessible and as needed, and all the materials are delivered as diverse multimodal forms. It could be a video, it could be an animation, it could be an infographic, and all of these are delivered through online platforms, whether through the PC or even through your smartphones, mobile devices. So we see here that we're talking about academic programs delivered through universities. We have started with, of course, all this we have been doing, delivering accredited academic programs through the conventional mode. So what we are now looking into in the future and currently and also for the future, MMU, we are now developing accredited academic programs as micro-credentials. And I have started with a few master's degree, and also we are looking as well into creating standalone freestanding micro-credentials, which is mainly focused on specific content or specific topics for the purpose of upskilling, reskilling, and lifelong learning. Okay. All right. So basically, when talking about the components of micro-credential courses or modules, when we design our micro-credential modules, this is basically the components that we have focused on. Basically, usually each micro-credential content, for example, will include the overview. We will have an introduction about the topic. We will state the learning outcomes, because these learning outcomes are very important. Because we develop the micro-credentials from accredited programs, and every subject in an accredited program has learning outcomes. So when we develop our micro-credentials, where we actually unbundle from a subject, so we must always map the learning outcome for every micro-credential to the learning outcomes in the original subject. So in the overview, the learning outcome of the micro-credential is stated. Learning outcomes, sorry, I think stated here outcomes, OUT, outcomes. And then of course we provide maybe some introductory essential information about the topic, the specific topic in the micro-credential. And then in terms of content, we do provide self-instructional materials. Basically, the content is basically more self-instructional. They can actually learn the content on their own without the presence of a lecturer or trainer. And the content are mainly multimodal, meaning different types of media are used, like videos, infographics, animation, and so on. And there are also within the micro-credential module, we also provide some learning activities. Students are required. There are some readings they need to we provide some PDF articles to read. They are, of course, other videos, not just the self-instructional materials, there are also videos that we upload. And certain micro-credentials do require students to do some asynchronous learning activities, whereby, on the OpenLearning platform, there could be, for example, there could be some activities where students are required, to do some collaborative problem solving, or they need to discuss a case study. So that depends on the micro-credential, whether something is just basically everything is self-paced, and they just be self-paced with self-instructional materials, but sometimes it is required for students or trainees to also do some collaborative activities, asynchronous group work. Okay, so once you have basically studied through the instructional materials, or you have participated in the learning activities, you need to also do an assessment. Okay, because according to we follow closely the micro-credentials GGP by NQA, and the requirement of the micro-credentials GGP is that we must provide an assessment that would actually the assessment will actually assess the learner's competency in a specific topic, and then only we will be able to award the digital badge, and as well as the Malaysia micro-credential statement. So in order to award digital badge, the learners will need to do an assessment, and in the case of MMU, we do not have like a final test or final exam type of assessment. Most of the assessments are mainly assignments or projects that learners have to do. They could be an online test or quiz, but most of the time it's very it's mainly assignment. Maybe a written report they have to write. Maybe they have to do a presentation. It's mainly an assignment rather than a quiz or a test. All right, and of course we also provide other learning resources to learners. Other web-based links, other content as well. Okay, so overall it will provide a very rich learning experience for learners, whereby they can assess the content, they can participate in activities, and also we also have face-to-face classes, face-to-face interactions with students, and we use Microsoft Teams again through the OpenLearning platform, where the learners can also meet with the lecturers or trainers face-to-face during certain hours, certain days or certain times. Okay, all right. So we're talking about the micro-credential at Multimedia University. So basically, it is in our case we are starting with master's degree programs, and it's a pathway. We provide a pathway for students to obtain a postgraduate degree. And but basically, when we wanted to convert these postgraduate academic programs or degrees into micro-credential, was a challenge for my department, especially because we coordinate the whole micro-credential development and delivery, and we had to basically work together with the SMEs or the lecturers or subject matter experts from the faculties. And the challenges we face, number one is, how do we enable lecturers or SMEs to adapt or convert conventional academic-based topics to online micro-credential modules? Okay, because these are really conventional academic-based topics, whereby in conventional classes, the lecturers will teach according to chapters. So how do we now convert those chapters into online micro-credential modules, which are more, as I said before, they are like you are delivered in chunks, bite-sized modules. And another challenge, the second challenge is how will these SMEs or even the lecturers or trainers perceive the application of informal micro-learning methods and techniques to develop multimodal self-instructional materials for adult learners? So basically, we're talking about micro-credentials because we are targeting adult learners. So you cannot, teach adult learners. This is the same way as you teach students in universities, where it's new students who are taking conventional courses, which is more formal. So when talking about credentials, it should be more informal. It should be more, how do you say, it should be more, you must treat your adult learners as, basically like your colleagues. You see, the important thing is that you want to share knowledge and you want to network, and they would also be able to share their they have the adult learners themselves being employed in the industry for so long. I'm sure they have a lot of experiences they can share with their classmates, for example, in the micro-credentials. So basically, there has to be, there has to be a paradigm shift in the mindset of SMEs when they deliver the micro-credentials, because it's definitely very different from how you deliver it to students in a conventional mode. Okay, so it's very pertinent to understand basically how will instructional designers, and together with the subject matter experts, how did they adapt? How will they convert these academic-based formal learning methods and contents into adult training environments as multi-modal micro-credential modules? Okay, so what we have done in MMU is we do have an instruction design process. Basically, it's the ADDI process, whereby LE is my department, Lifelong Education Department, under the Center for Lifelong Education and Learning Innovation. And we always start, by having a session with lecturers. We will brief them on, the legal issues, the copyright issues, because when you want to deliver micro-credentials and develop some instructional materials, we cannot just copy and paste content from the internet or from textbook. So we have to brief the lecturers on the legal issues, the copyright issues, as well as how to develop some instructional materials. And then the SMEs will then discuss with the Lifelong Education Department on the requirements of a SIM development. Then they will, number 3, they will submit the materials for the instructional materials, and our instruction designers will do the storyboard design, but the SMEs from the faculty will review the storyboard. And once the storyboard has been approved, we will then develop the SIM or production unit, which is under which is what we call SMART. They will develop the self-instructional materials, and at the end we again review the completed SIMs, and only once it's approved we will upload it to the OpenLearning platform. So the entire process involves a lot of working together. We need to work very closely with the SMEs from the faculty, and there's always a review process throughout the whole instruction design process. There's always a lot of review, and so that whatever we develop will be in line with the syllabus of the original subject, because we are unbundling from an academic program, but at the same time it adapts to the micro-learning format, micro-learning instructional method. Okay, all right. So we see here that we provide a Gantt chart, a timeline for lecturers, so they need to follow the timeline carefully, and at every stage there is a meeting with the SMEs so that to ensure that the micro-credentials developed will be of quality, and it will be it actually will be a very interesting and engaging micro-credential for students. Okay, wait, let me share some, okay, let me just show another screen. Let me okay. Okay, let me share another screen. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone can see this. Okay, so for example, we actually have a step-by-step guideline for lectures to follow to develop the micro-credential. Okay. Okay, so we this is the flow of how the need to create your micro credentials. All right. Okay. So basically, for example, let's say for one micro credentials, we require the lecturers to provide the content slides, the introduction slide, learning outcome slide, summary slide. Okay, and as well as the voiceover script. Okay, and so there is it's very clear that this is the whole process. Okay, all right. That our lifelong learning department, we will work very closely with lecturers in terms of course we need to create a storyboard first, and then at the same there's always review process, and then we will then submit once the storyboard has been approved by the SMEs. We will then submit to the production unit to develop. Okay, all right. So this is just the whole sharing process we have with lecturers. Okay, so I went back to another previous slide. Okay. So for the MMU micro-credentials, these are the features. Basically, we have decided at MMU, the features of the MMU micro-credentials should be for every course in an accredited master's program, we actually unpacked it into 3 to 4 micro-credentials. Why do we do this? Let me show you why. Okay. So for example, you see here, all lecturers have to of course we have a training with lecturers, but on how they need to fill in this micro-credential information template, because the micro-credential is developed from a conventional subject. For example, this one, you can see here. This micro-credential, it was developed from we have about 3 micro-credentials that we have developed from the change management subject from the Masters of Business Administration. Okay, then this subject has 4 LOs. Okay, and then here we are mapping. We have unbundled to 3 different micro-credentials. Okay, and of course it needs to map. Each micro-credential will map to specific learning outcomes in the original subject. Okay, all right. And we have also identified for every micro-credential. For example, micro-credential 1 is strategic change management. Micro-credential 2, value creation through organizational change. Micro-credential 3, effective change management approaches. Okay, we have for every micro-credential we have as well broken down the SLTs. So we see here, this is and this is the details for every micro-credential. Okay, so we divided it to face-to-face learning activity, asynchronous learning activities, non-face-to-face, as well as independent learning. Okay, and there is also an assessment. Okay, for this one is online test. So this is micro-credential 1, and this is micro-credential 2, and micro-credential 3. Okay, so so we will work very closely with the subject matter experts to create this to really unbundle and create micro-credentials from the original conventional subject. All with this, we do this so that it will be in line with the MQA requirements. Okay, so basically, these are the features. Each course in an accredited master's program, we usually unpack to either 3 to 4 micro-credentials. Now, every micro-credential can be completed within 2 weeks. It has both synchronous face-to-face sessions with lecturers as well as or trainers, and also asynchronous learning activities and also independent learning. So basically, when you take the micro-credential, you can basically credit transfer it directly into the master's program, but you can enroll into the master's degree at any point of time and transfer the earned credits for the from the micro-credentials. Okay, and the fees are pay as you learn. There are no advance payment, there are no exam fees. Basically, it's you pay as you learn. And you can actually earn digital badges. You will get a digital badge after successful completion for every micro-credential. So unlike an academic program, you have to wait until you have completed the 4-year or 3-year or 2-year degree in order to earn a chance to earn the certification. Then only you can share with your prospective employers. But for digital badges, for micro-credentials, you can actually share your digital badges immediately after you completed every micro-credential. You don't have to wait. You have completed all micro-credential or the entire degree program. Okay. So for example, this is how we unbundled. For example, for the change management subject, this is the so we are divided into 3 different micro-credentials. You see here. So in order to credit transfer into the MBA change management course, you need to complete all 3 micro-credentials because we have unbundled from 1 subject to 3 micro-credentials. Now, in order for us to directly credit transfer, they can just credit transfer. You need to complete all 3 micro-credentials first. Okay, but it's so for every micro-credential, it's only 2 weeks. There are no final examination. Everything is done online through the OpenLearning platform. And assessment are like case studies, project paper, assignment, and presentation. So they are basically no exams. Okay, I think I have to go too quickly. The time is almost up. Okay, so these are the micro-credentials that we have developed from the Master of Business Administration. Okay, so we have about 8 micro-credentials, 8 subjects, which we have developed into 3 to 4 micro-credentials. So about in total, we have about 25 micro-credentials for the MBA program. Okay, so if you have completed, once you complete all the micro-credentials for each subject, we can credit transfer, okay, directly into the MBA. And then we also have the micro-credentials for Master Engineering. So this one is what's unique about the Master Engineering? We have actually unbundle all the subjects. You can actually so you can actually do the Master Engineering in micro-credential mode. Okay, unlike the MBA, we have only about 8 subjects developed into micro-credentials. But for the Master Engineering, we have developed all subjects into micro-credentials. So you can actually transfer all the micro-credentials to be awarded with the Master Engineering in Microelectronics. Okay. So basically for the MBA program, for example, you were registered to learn the subjects via micro-credential mode at the MMU OpenLearning portal. You just need to complete the micro-credentials and pass the assessment. And then you will earn your digital badge, which you can actually share to advance your career. Or you can further your studies by enrolling in the MMU MBA program. Of course, you must meet the minimum entry requirement. Or if you do not, you can also be enrolled via Upper A qualification. And then once you are enrolled, you will directly credit transfer up to 21 course credits in the MBA program, equivalent to 7 subjects from the micro-credentials. And then all you need to do is just complete another 4 subjects and a final project to graduate. Okay, so this is for MBA. MBA is you only have you can only transfer up to 7 subjects or 21 course credits from the micro-credentials, but you have to complete another 4 subjects and the final project in the conventional mode. But for the Master of Engineering, just now I mentioned, this one you can complete the entire program in micro-credential mode. So you can credit transfer all the micro-credentials into the Master of Engineering in microelectronics. Okay, so the fees is only about 500 ringgit per micro-credential for the MBA program, and then for the MMU Master Engineering is 750, I think 700 per micro-credential. Okay, so that the starting dates for the MMU University micro-credentials are, we have actually started with the Master of Business Administration. We have started, our first client was of course Telecom Malaysia, our parent company. We have now also offering the same masters to other companies now. And soon we're going to also have public students and international students coming in to take our credentials, especially from China. And in Masters of Engineering, we have already started in Penang with a company in Penang. And Masters of Computer Science will commence in January, and Masters of Creative Multimedia will commence in May, okay, next year. So this is our credential learning platform, okay, right? So basically, when you enter the platform, you can just the different course categories. You just need to click on the course category. And then once you have entered the course categories, you can just select a micro-credential from the list offered in the course category. You need to pay fees, not through OpenLearning, but you pay fees through the MMU payment gateway for both local and international students. Okay, and this, all right. Then submit the proof of payment. Okay, this is also stated within the OpenLearning platform. And once you have uploaded your proof of payment, you will receive an email to join. You will be notified by email to join the course. All right. And then you can just automatically, once you receive the email, you can join the course. And then that's it, you're in the course. Okay, after this, I can show you the course actually. Okay, so when you learn through micro-credentials, these are some of the learning activities. You will watch videos or you can view some slides. There are also some face-to-face real-time online class sessions using Microsoft Teams with the instructor or the lecturer. There are some online learning activities in like asynchronous discussion. Okay, they are non-face-to-face, it's non-real-time. And you need to also do some independent learning, like reading articles and completing an assignment. So basically, these are some of the learning activities through the micro-credential mode. Okay, these are some of the examples of the self-instruction materials we have developed for students. Okay, mainly in this example by animation. And so once you have passed the assessment, you will be awarded with the digital badge. Okay, the MMU digital badge, as well as a Malaysia micro-credential statement. It's like a transcript. You will be awarded for every micro-credential. Okay, so in conclusion, okay, let me before I conclude, let me just show. And to share again. Okay, I'm still sharing. This is actual homepage. So, okay, sorry. This is the MMU OpenLearning platform, openlearning.com, the MMU MC. So you see here the different categories we have. Okay. Okay, sorry, these are okay, this is the list of courses under the business and management micro-credentials category. Yeah? Okay, so we have many courses now. And then and these are examples of the courses once you have registered. Okay, so we have here, for example, customer relationship marketing and service excellence. Okay. So for this particular course, the lecturer is Dr. Aravindan Logaswaran. Okay. And you have ice-breaking activity. Then we have the course content. Let me show you content. Oh no, this ice breaking. This is ice breaking activity. And then we have the course content. Yeah, flagging. Okay, so we have different, all these are all either videos or slides that you can study on your own. Okay, and of course there's a assessment, and you do the assessment here, okay? All right. Okay, so this is the example of an assessment. Okay, and of course there are other, and the trainers may also want to meet with you face to face, so that can be done through video conferencing platforms. But in our case, we're using Microsoft Teams. All right. Okay. This is another example. This is a course under Master Engineering. We have the introduction of digital system modeling. Okay, so we have here the course content. Again, all course content. Okay. Okay, so this one is going on currently in progress with our learners in Penang. Okay. So I'm not sure whether he has uploaded his assessment or not. Okay, so he has. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so okay. So in conclusion, we found that through our experience working together with the lecturers, the perception of lecturers, when we started doing micro-credentials, they were quite hesitant and they felt like they were not sure whether, micro-credentials would be a good, the best mode to deliver, academic programs. Because when we started by converting academic programs to micro-credentials in MMU. So they find it very challenging, and they felt that maybe it is not the best mode to deliver academic subjects. But after going through with the instruction designers, we actually explained the whole micro-learning concept and how they can actually adapt their teaching materials, the teaching materials, that they are into self-instructional materials. They finally, and when they started actually delivering the micro-credentials to the learners, whether with specific companies, learners from specific companies or in the industry or to the public, they now have changed their perception. Now they see micro-credential as being as a value added mode, and it actually provides a positive learning experience for adults. They realize that, okay, because they felt that now they actually know that, adult learners, they really cannot sit through, chapters and chapters of of content, especially if they are working adults. So by having it in micro bites, chunks of bites of learning content, it's really more easier for them to absorb, to be engaged with the content and engaged with the topics and to understand the topics better. So basically the instruction design process that we went through with the SMEs, where we had instruction designers working together with the subject matter experts and the lecturers to create the micro-learning or micro-credential materials was actually very helpful. Okay, the fact that the instruction design was there to guide the lecture was very helpful, and it actually enabled the creation of really engaging, motivating, and impactful multi-modal instructional content, self-instructional content. So in the end, what's very important that the principles, we want to try our best to meet the principle, to adhere to the principles of good micro-credentials. That one is outcome-based, meaning that it's very clear from the beginning that the learning gain, what is to be gained from the learning is expected what the learning gain that the learners will gain, what the learning outcome that learners will gain from the micro-credential is expected, and explained clearly, realistically, and it is measurably stated for the student. And it's personalized because learners can learn at their own pace and in their own way, because we provide all the instructional materials, so they can actually go through the videos, the slides on their own at their own pace. And also when we adapt the conventional courses to the micro-credential mode, there are a lot of examples and case studies we provide which are relevant to the industry. So the courses are basically driven by the knowledge, skills, and competencies required by the employers, because most of the content, we do not take copy and paste from the textbook. Maybe from the textbook we take the ideas, the concepts, for example, but in terms of examples, there are a lot of examples from we have taken from the industry, a lot of case studies, for example. And the credential, the digital badges that you provide, because it's from the credible digital credentialing platform, the credentials can be authenticated. The employees can verify with MMU that this credential has been awarded by MMU, so it can be authenticated and it can be shared online with others. And everything about the course, all the information of the course is transparent. The outcome, the teaching learning content, the assessment, everything is provided to the learners. So in conclusion, I would say that I think delivering micro-credentials, especially through OpenLearning platform, has been, I think, a very positive experience for MMU. It was a challenge at the beginning, but as we went through the process, now been almost a year, we have started with the micro-credential development and delivery project. And I think we feel now it's very rewarding, and we feel that it is, in fact, I think it's the future. We have been receiving more and more interest from learners to join our micro-credentials. So we feel it is something very, I think we have taken we have taken a good step in, in starting the micro-credential project. Okay. Then even though it's, some people would say that we are quite ambitious because we started with the accredited programs, but we feel that I think we are on the right track. Okay. All right. I think that's all. Maybe perhaps I can look through if there are any questions we can answer some questions from the participants. Okay. Okay. There's a question from Bethany. If you put the subject content again, the associated side by side with the content and assessment be identical? If not, how have you gone about redesigning that content assessment as part of the unbundling process? Okay, the content for the content itself, meaning that the topics covered within the credentials should not be different from the original subject. Okay, for example, let me show again. Okay. Let me stop sharing this slide. This one, all right. So this template is very, very important. Okay, because we can see the topics covered. So for in the original subject. So what we see here, we have from the original syllabus, we have actually unbundled it to 3 different credentials, and the content, okay, all here for every credential is was taken. The content for every credential was taken from the original syllabus. So in terms of the content is the same. Okay, I mean the topics taken. All right, so example MC1, we are mapping to the CLO to describe the forces of change and the process from creating the vision to inspiring organizational change among the recipients of change, and to analyze real-life problems that require changes in organization. Now, the CLO is the same. We do not change the CLO. The CLO is from the original subject. So so therefore, when they say, oh, the same, the topics are the same as well. Okay, all right. So what is different is the examples, because for every topic that we create, there are examples provided. Okay, like case studies provided. Now, the case study examples would be different because we are now really focusing on the needs of industry. So most of the examples you provide are actually actual cases from the industry. Okay, all right. Right. So once we have basically chunked down basically we have chunked down the content into the different micro-credentials, and then we will then develop the videos. Okay, we will then develop the videos for every topic. We have a video for every topic. Sometimes for every topic, we have not more than one videos to explain the topic. Okay, all right. In terms of tips to the course creator out there, the role of instruction designer is very important, because sometimes the SMEs, they because they are lecturers, and they are they have always been they are very comfortable with the conventional mode. So the role of instruction designers to when we chunk down the content to different MCs, different micro-credentials, the role of instruction designer is to ensure that every micro-credential, how the content is delivered, it has to be according to the micro-learning model. Okay, the instruction designer's role is very, very important. Okay, all right. Okay, so there is a checklist. Yes, there is a checklist that the course creator need to fulfill when they unbundle. So this is the checklist actually. I mean, we provide a template for every SME, the subject matter expert. But in order to fill up this template, there will be instruction designer as well to guide the course the SME lah, the subject matter expert. Okay, another question is, can anyone issue a deal batch? What? Okay, no, not anyone can issue deal batch. Only the administrator of the platform, which is actually LE, our department, Lifelong Education Department. We do not even allow the instructor to issue the deal batch. We will issue the deal batch because this is like in our case, it's an academic program. Okay, this is an academic, and later on, our credentials have been unbundled from an academic program, and therefore it can later on be directly credit transferred to the MBA postgraduate degree or into the engineering postgraduate degree. And therefore, what we need to do is actually in our case, for the assessment results need to go through the Board of Examiners, the university's Board of Examiners, as well as the University Senate first. It needs to be approved by the university's Board of Examiners and endorsed by the Senate. Then only my department, LE department, Lifelong Education Department, will then issue the deal batch once the Senate has endorsed the results. Okay, all right. So, so we want to ensure that because for us, our credentials are from academic programs, and we are going to credit transfer to our degree. So it's very important for us to ensure the quality. So we do not just allow anyone to issue. It only can be issued by Lifelong Education Department once the board examiners have approved and the Senate have endorsed the results, student results. Okay, what are the documents needed for MQA application? Basically, which application, not so sure. But basically, when we develop a credential, we need to notify NQA that we're going to, we do need their approval. Okay, but in order for us to develop our credential, we must get every credential must be approved at our academic board first. We have what we call the academic board. MMU has an academic board, and the academic board has to approve every credential first before it can be delivered. Okay, and once the academic board has approved, MMU academic board has approved our credentials, then we will notify MQA that we're going to deliver it. We just need to notify. We do not need MQA approval to deliver micro-credentials, but we need to notify. So we need to, there's a template, I think, if you look at the MQA JGP, there is a template how you can actually notify. You can just fill in the template and then submit the template to MQA for their notification. It's not approval, just to notify. Okay. Okay, so you know you do not need MQA approval for each MC. You do not need. Wait, okay, do not need to notify. You do not need MQA approval for every MC program. You just need to notify. Yes, I said that. As I mentioned before, there are challenges. And the challenges are mainly when we started it, because most of the, especially with the lecturers, but that's why it's very important in the beginning for we have the lifelong education department. We closely guide the lecturers. We work together lecturers, and we have a team of instruction designers to the lecturers in how they will develop the micro-credentials from an academic program. Okay. Okay, incentives is part of their every SME has been appointed by the university, and it can be the appointment can be used for promotion purpose. Okay, all right. Okay, what else? Okay, you see. Okay, so basically, yes, the SME, we need to somehow give an incentive for SME, so they would actually want to do it. So of course, as I mentioned before, every SME has been appointed by university, and they can use their their appointment as part of their promotion. Okay, so the MMU micro-credentials can be viewed from our OpenLearning portal. Just now I showed the OpenLearning portal. Okay. Just now that I think I showed here. Let me share again. Okay, so this is the MMU OpenLearning portal. So you can view all our courses at the all our micro-credentials at the OpenLearning portal. But you can also please if you're interested or you want to know more, whether you want to take our micro-credentials or you want to know more on how we develop micro-credentials, you can also contact me at tenku.norishah@mmu.edu.my. You can also contact me. So we can, if you want to just talk about how we develop credentials, or you want to know more our courses, you can also contact me at this email. All right. Okay. I think that's it. Because let me see the chatting. Anything else? Okay. All right. If there's any 12. Okay. Let me see again. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Another question from we. Based on the past few months, any feedback from lecturers? Okay. As I said, when we started the whole development of credentials, at the beginning, as I said, the lecturers were hesitant. They were not positive that this would be a good way. This would be a good mode to develop conventional accredited programs. They say, why don't you just start with any simple topic, why don't we just start with standalone micro-credentials, on just why must we start with academic programs? Okay. So but after we went through the whole process, and with a lot of guidance from my department, with the instruction designers working closely with the lecturers, so it has been positive. They felt that they're very positive about it. Okay. And the students themselves, because we have delivered online, so we have already conducted, we already delivered our credentials to the TM group, to a company in to several companies. Actually, we have actually started mainly with companies, with their employees. And now we're now receiving students, international students from China to do our credentials, and also students who are local students, working adults. So the feedback has been good because, especially for adult learners, mainly credentials are really suitable for adult learners because they can actually learn at their own pace, and it's very convenient for them. So it's like any other online learning program. Okay, like ODL, Open Distance Learning Program. It's just that Open Learning Distance Program, they have to take the entire course, maybe for a few months, right? But for micro-credential, they just need to take 2 weeks. For micro-credential, it's about 2 weeks. So they can actually complete a subject. For every subject, they can complete within 6 weeks. 5 to 6 weeks, they complete one subject already, right? Because one subject we have broken down to 3 different MCs, so they can complete everything with for the entire subject. If they take all the MCs, they can complete within 5 to 6 weeks. But if they take the actual ODL program, when they register an ODL program, like Open Distance Learning Program, because MMU also offer ODL programs, they have to take the entire program within a semester, which is about 4 months. 4 to 6 months. So, but for micro-credential, they can complete within 1 month per subject. Okay, so it's and it's every 2 weeks. So it is more convenient for adult learners. So also it's not positive feedback from adult learners. Okay, what do you think should be there in current micro-credentials but are not there? Okay, so currently the current micro-credentials, I think we need to include more in terms of the self-instructional materials. Self-instructional materials, currently we're using a lot, mainly videos, but I think we're looking into ways of making it more, providing more interactive content. All right. So hopefully that in the future we can create more interactive content for learners. Okay. What else? This one more. I think one last question. All right, so where do you see in the future learning organizations heading in the next 3 to 10 years? I think micro-credentials is one of the future type of learning because it's very accessible, and I think it's very convenient for organizations, for employees to learn through micro-credentials. Okay, and they can just, upskill, reskill themselves by just learning through micro-credentials. I think, and the fact that they can actually earn a little badge straight away after they're completed a micro-credential, and the little badges are very useful to actually, recognize their competency and their knowledge or skill. Okay, all right. So I hope you have basically gained some knowledge from my presentation. And as I said before, I would definitely like to share more with you, but due to lack of time, I'm not able to. But if any further questions you want to discuss further, please contact me through my email. Okay, and it will be my pleasure to assist anyone, or to answer your questions after the webinar. And also, of course, I welcome anybody who would like to also join and take our micro-credentials as well. All right. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.